The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory
To you, O Lord. Tax collectors and sinners were all drawing near to listen to Jesus, but the Pharisees and scribes began to complain, saying, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them." So to them Jesus addressed this parable. A man had 2 sons, and the younger son said to his father, "Father, give me the share of your estate that should come to me." So the father divided the property between them. After a few days, the younger son collected all his belongings and set off to a distant country, where he squandered his inheritance on a life of dissipation. When he had freely spent everything, a severe famine struck that country, and he found himself in dire need. So he hired himself out to one of the local citizens, who sent him to his farm to tend the swine. And he longed to eat his fill of the pods on which the swine fed, but nobody gave him any. Coming to his senses, he thought, "How many of my father's hired workers have more than enough food to eat, but here am I, dying from hunger. I shall get up and go to my father, and I shall say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I no longer deserve to be called your son. Treat me as you would treat one of your hired workers.' So he got up and went back to his father. While he was still a long way off, his father caught sight of him and was filled with compassion. He ran to his son, embraced him, and kissed him. His son said to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I no longer deserve to be called your son.' But his father ordered his servants, 'Quickly, bring the finest robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Take the fattened calf and slaughter it. Then let us celebrate with a feast, because this son of mine was dead and has come to life again. He was lost and has been found.' Then the celebration began. Now the older son had been out in the field, and on his way back, as he neared the house, he heard the sound of music and dancing. He called one of the servants and asked what this might mean. The servant said to him, 'Your brother has returned, and your father has slaughtered the fattened calf, because he has him back safe and sound.' He became angry, and when he refused to enter the house, his father came out and pleaded with him. He said to his father in reply, 'Look, all these years I served you, and not once did I disobey your orders. Yet you never gave me even a young goat to feast on with my friends. But when your son returns, who swallowed up your property with prostitutes, for him you slaughter the fattened calf.' He said to him, 'My son, you are here with me always. Everything I have is yours. But now we must celebrate and rejoice, because your brother was dead and has come to life again. He was lost and has been found.'" The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Today in the Gospel parable, we see very clearly that the younger son, he essentially rejects his identity as his father's son, and he rejects that relationship that he has with him. We could say that when we sin, we also reject our identity as children of our Father, and we reject that relationship that he wants to have with us. And so, we can ask, what is the consequence of that, of rejecting our identity, rejecting that relationship? Well, again, we can look to the gospel parable. We see that as the son, squanders his inheritance, he spends everything that the father had given him. It says that he found himself in dire need. Essentially, when we sin, we bring ourselves to a kind of place of spiritual famine, similar to, again, what we see with the son. He is struck by famine. He is struck by severe need. The same thing with us. Spiritually, we are in need when we sin. We see that the son is jealous of the hogs because he recognizes that in some ways they're better off than he is in his situation. And when we sin, we might be able to say something similar, because animals, they don't have free will. They're unable to sin. They can't work evil. They can't act contrary to their dignity. But we can. We are able to act contrary to our dignity through sin, through rejection of God. And so, in some sense, we do put ourselves below the brute animals when we turn away from our Heavenly Father. They're better off in some ways than we are. And yet, thanks be to God that no matter how much we sin. Our identity as sons and daughters of the Father still remains. It may be difficult for us to embrace that reality, as we see in the gospel. It says that the Son came to his senses. He recognized, I need to go back to my Father. And for us, when we finally come to our senses, it can still be difficult for us to return. It can still be difficult for us to accept that we are still our Father's children. And maybe we're sometimes like the older son who struggles to welcome back those who, yes, have repented. It can be difficult to accept that reality in others, to again recognize that dignity that they have. But it's important for us to remember that God never rejects his children. He never rejects his children who come to him. And so, as we continue to go through Lent, let us set aside those things that make us prodigal children and instead just try to embrace living simply as God's children and prepare our hearts to receive the eternal Son of the Father.